and welcome to Insiders. Well, both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition travelled overseas this week, not together, and that in itself was the subject of some debate along the way. Julia Gillard declared foreign policy is not her passion, and Tony Abbott said he'd passed on an opportunity to visit Afghanistan with the Prime Minister because he didn't want to arrive in the UK jet-lagged. And at home, difficult domestic challenges face both of them. Climate change and water allocations, key issues for the government, and industrial relations sure to test the solidarity of the opposition.
I'm very pleased to be here in Brussels.
It's an honour to fill in, if you like. To hold the fort for Julia when she's away doing pretty important work.
As I trail through crowds of people
overseas.
Keep from looking back.
Nice to be here in Birmingham.
Something passing and it sends me off my track.
I will be taking the opportunity to have direct discussions with a number of world leaders.
Look, it's been terrific today to meet with David Cameron, the British Prime Minister, and also with William Hague, the British Foreign Secretary.
Clearly, I started my trip in Afghanistan. I believed it was very important as Prime Minister to make the first place I visited overseas as Afghanistan. I extended an invitation to Tony Abbott to accompany me to Afghanistan.
It was not going to be easy for my schedule.
He made different arrangements.
Well, I thought it was important to do this trip justice, and I didn't want to get here in an entirely jet-lagged condition.
I'll let Mr Abbott work out his own sleeping patterns. I went to Afghanistan, then to Zurich, then came here and did manage to get 8 hours sleep last night.
I think it's appropriate that she goes at her time and that I go in my time.
Mr Abbott's travel plans are a matter for Mr Abbott.
I certainly don't call into question the Prime Minister's commitment to our troops in Afghanistan, and I think she shouldn't question mine.
This whole thing was a bit of an unfortunate political stunt by the Labour Party, which does nothing to further the national interest.
This is an area where you do not play political games, and Julia Gillard is playing a dangerous political game.
In my dream I never find you, but I hear you call my name.
Ms Gillard is in Brussels, speed dating world leaders.
Secretary General of NATO, the Japanese Prime Minister, the Korean President, both the European Union Commission President and the European Union Council President, President Sarkozy of France, Chancellor Merkel of Germany.
You made it over.
Yes, made it over. We're very much enjoying it.
Australian leaders have traditionally wanted to project our voice into the wider world.
I've obviously had a long but very productive day here in Brussels.
Have you found your comfort zone yet?
Foreign policy is not my passion. It's not what I've spent my life doing. If I had a choice, I'd probably more be in a school watching kids learn to read in Australia than here in Brussels at international meetings.
She's not that interested. She's not that passionate about foreign affairs.
What a silly construction of what I've just said.
I don't know that we ever want to have a Kevin 747 again.
I think people will find that refreshing.
Now, you're not really having trouble being understood here, are you?
No, I'm not, but I thought a joke was worthwhile.
There are two reactions to me here at this conference from British Conservatives.
How long have you been needed?
First of all, gratitude. And second, admiration.
My focus will be on getting the big relationships right.
I don't want to overestimate my presence here, but nevertheless, I think it's good.
Neither of them bathed themselves in glory over that entire process.
Well, this morning the Treasurer and Deputy Prime Minister Wayne Swan will be joining us from Washington, where he has had meetings with the IMF and the World Bank. And one of the independents, Tony Windsor, will be joining Mike Bowers on Talking Pictures.
Rob sort of spoke famously for 17 minutes. What were you thinking when that was going on?
I started to look at how many pages there were on
on his speech.
Yeah, and I could see there was more to come. The days of our lives will be over.
And they'll also reveal for the first time what Bob Catter actually carries around in that well-worn briefcase of his. First, we'll see what the Sunday papers are covering, or more accurately, what stories have developed since the Sunday papers, George. Tony Abbott has visited Afghanistan.
And he's had 10 hours, and most of them with the troops. And now he's on his way to Dubai before he flies back to Australia. Presumably he needs another night sleep before he gets back to Australia. But